Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Comic Source. I'm your host, Jace. We have a returning creator, one of my favorite people, joining us today, Brain Buccellato. Hey, man. Good to see you.
How you doing?
Good, good. We're here today to talk about the finale of your fantastic series. We've spotlighted it. I think it's been our book of the week every time it's come out. It's Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. I gotta say, it looks like you, along with Christian Duce, Tom Dernick, that you guys are just having a blast. Make it we keep using the word fun to describe it. It's a heck of a lot of fun. We're having fun reading it. You guys must be having fun making it.
Yeah, try writing it. You want to talk about fun? It's been the most fun I've ever had doing any kind of IP related writing. It's been amazing.
Yeah, so it got announced last year during San Diego Comic-Con, and the first thing that popped into my mind was, you're the perfect guy to write this. Give us a little background on how it came about, and did you break speed records saying yes?
Yeah, I mean, I can't take any credit for it coming to be in the world. It was really between Ben Abernathy, who was a longtime editor at DC at the time, and Robert Napton, who runs the comic side of Legendary. It's their conversation that bore this fruit, and I was just the lucky jerk that they chose to ask first. And yes, it took me 0.0000001 seconds to say yes.
So once you did you feel any pressure to really give your all, or was it just, man, I'm gonna be the kid who loved, Challenge of the Super Friends and Godzilla and Kong growing up, and the story came easy, or did it take a little back and forth?
Man, I don't think pressure is the right word because I enjoy writing and I do it because, I mean, obviously, getting to work and get paid to do something you love, I mean, that's the biggest one in the world.
Right.
But there's no pressure. There's no pressure. I knew the characters all very well. I had experience writing legendary books with the monsters and, of course, the DC stuff, like, including Injustice, which was sort of like, I almost feel like it was uh, uh, the proving ground for myself to do a big book like this. When I got the opportunity to do it, I just threw everything at it in terms of how many characters, how many moves, how many crazy things can we see happen, and can we tie it to something emotional, which is sort of the Clark through line of the story.
Yeah, that's one of the things I wonder about. I don't know how many prompts they gave you, but you really did choose a giant cast. I mentioned Challenge of the Super Friends, and that is, one of the things that we really the vibe we get. We mentioned that when we're reviewing it because it is the Legion of Doom, it is the Justice League, so that's a huge cast of characters. Plus, you have a huge cast of characters with the monsters. But in terms of the heroes and villains, a big cast, but you did get a chance, like you said, to bring some emotion and bring some characterization. I think you did a very great job with that, but it had to be sort of challenging, right? To give everybody their space on the page.
Sure, and there was no mandate. I wasn't told to use these characters, use these versions of
Right.
characters. It was pretty much a blank slate in terms of like, here are, all the pieces in the toy box, all the toys. Go for it. And then, of course, there's guardrails. The beauty of it being sort of an Elseworlds is that I could take, my Christopher Reeve version of Superman and put him with my, New 52 Flash. I can mix and match, my George Perez Teen Titans. I mean, like I can do whatever I want in terms of cherry picking my favorite versions of each character and putting together, like mostly to like amuse myself. But like one thing I do know about writing is that the more you can be like authentic and true to like what your own taste is and what you love, I think the more you'll appeal to people because like in the specific there's universal. And so did I think it was going to be like this big huge hit that like the book sold out every month and multiple different printings? I didn't think that, but I did think some people would like it, and I kind of assumed that you would.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that was really, really cool, and I think you posted on like TikTok or Instagram, the first issue had these variant covers that they roared when you opened them up. That was like the coolest thing ever.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Again, I think marketing team DC, they really put their weight behind it, and I think their love of like superheroes and kaiju behind it, and it really shows in just how how much they pushed it to to really raise awareness and to do really cool things like crazy covers.
Yeah, it was awesome. Funny thing, I was driving home from the comic book store when I got my two copies. One's the Godzilla roar, one's kind of the Kong roar. I'm driving home, I turn a corner and they went off, like the book shifted, and it scared the crap out of me. I was like, "Wait, what was that?" It was awesome. But for those that haven't read, okay, we're going to get just a little spoilery, not for the final issue, issue 7, which is on sale next week, this coming Tuesday, everybody. So this is going to drop on Friday if you're listening to it the day it comes out. So you have just a couple days. Make sure you get in there and get the final issue. But issue 6 left off with a couple of cliffhangers. Like we saw, Superman had been down for the count for a couple issues. He's back. We don't know how, and we don't know if he's going to have a rematch with Godzilla or what have you. The other thing that we saw that was awesome in issue 6 was kind of like a Green Lantern kind of mech kind of thing, which was really awesome. But it really seems like you've built to this climax with all the monsters, all the kaiju converging on Metropolis. The villains are headed there. The supers are headed there. So it's been all out action from the start. That being said, you're really ratcheting it up. So talk to us about the pacing. Um, Again, was it just fun to kind of build to this ultimate? I mean, you're already at a high point. Now you've built to something even higher.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I don't know what I was thinking, except for like more and more. Let's just do it. Like as I was right, 7 was the most challenging issue to write because I was like, wow, I really put a lot of people
Right?
and monsters in this issue, and I had to tie it all up. So it was definitely a creative challenge to say the least. But it was fun, and like you know, uh, I felt like I wanted to give everyone their own little moments throughout the series and try to wrap up all those stories in a way that was satisfying. So I believe I did that. Hopefully, everyone will agree. When the book comes out. But yeah, there's a lot of fighting and a lot of back and forth, and the most unpredictable ending I think that I've ever written. Nobody's going to guess the this one twist or some. It's not a twist so much as an explanation. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. There's a couple I mean, at least one or two moments in every issue where it's just like, oh man, I'm finding myself smiling from ear to ear. 7 may have the most of those. Is there, again, we don't want to spoil, but is there a moment in issue 7 that you can't wait to get the reader reaction for?
yeah, it was already spoiled. It was spoiled in the covers, I think, already. So I don't know if you want to talk about it, but there's a
Yeah.
very big spoilery cover, and DC, gave a press sort of like a press announcement showing. That's the big win, I think, for the entire series, in my opinion.
All right. Well, let's let everybody, if it's out there on the cover, we can talk about it. So, what is the moment specifically?
It's the big hairy fella who gets to wield a Green Lantern ring, King
Yeah,
Kong.
so
Yeah,
good. King Kong Lantern. I mean, again, moments in every issue. The Green Lantern kind of mech kaiju. Last issue,
yeah,
now we're getting Kong with a ring, which is just
yeah. And
amazing.
I can't even take credit for it. I believe it was Ben who pitched the idea, and
Uh,
and I was like, yeah, they'll never let us do it. And Robert was like, well, let me find out,
yeah,
and they let us do it.
so awesome. And then the other half of this, right? We mentioned him at the top. Christian Doucet, Tom Derenick, just again big cast, so it's a challenge for them. And big monsters to draw these action scenes. How has it been? How's the back and forth been with the art team?
There really isn't much in the way of back and forth because they know what they're doing, right? Like, um, I think if there's too much conversation, it means that one of us is not communicating properly to the other in some way, and there really was none of that. So, I just did what I could in the script phase, and they just took it and ran with it, and made it even better than I thought they would because you just never know. When you see it until you see it on page on the page, and I think they did an amazing job. And the coloring by Luis Guerrero is just you know that takes it even to the next level. So
Yeah, I know we talked about this a little bit before, but your background as an artist, your background doing colors, you think it helps when you're building your script? Do you have kind of something in mind, or you think it helps in being able to be descriptive of kind of giving them the credit
Not
so there
not
isn't?
when you're writing. Not when you're writing. No, I mean I think it helps when I see the colors. I have opinions. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But in the script phase, I always put a lot of photo reference in my scripts anyway
Okay.
because much easier to grab an image of something that then try to explain it in a paragraph. Like it's this. So I do a lot of that, which I hope is helpful. It seems like it is helpful for the artist.
Well, you mentioned how great the sales have been. It has been a big hit. Um, I know you've had a chance to do a couple of shows this year and at the end of last year as well. Is it one of those books that's resonating with people, fans? Like when you get to see fans in person, is this one of the things that you're doing that comes up? Do they want to talk about it?
Oh yeah, yeah. Robert likes to say this is the one they'll remember us for, and I think to some degree, he's right. It's such a big, crazy idea, and it seems like everybody loves it. I can't wait for the trade to come out, because then that opens for a whole other sort of avenue for people to have access to it. Because I know there's those people who only read stuff that in the final form in a trade. So I'm really looking forward to the next wave of people who bring those books to me at cons to get signed.
Yeah, you mentioned the trade. Let me pull up the date here. I think it just got announced, right, for the date of the trade. I'm gonna let everybody know. Yeah, so there's a hardcover that's coming July 9th, everybody. So again, now's the time. Let your retailer know if you want it. Again, it's a fun series. Be fantastic on your bookshelf. So again, final issue out next week on the 21st. Trade coming early next early in July. So if this breeds a sequel, because again,
Sure.
it ends in such a way that we could see these monsters cross over with DC characters again. Do you have an idea? Would you like to
Oh, I have
revisit this?
ideas. Of course, and I have ideas. And my one ask, if it comes to pass, I would love to get some of the more known monsters from the MonsterVerse that I didn't get a chance to use this time around.
Yeah, I mean, Mecha Godzilla there, Godzilla, Kong, obviously Tiamat are probably the most well-known. Scylla's there as well. But yeah, again, I think mashing up these two worlds that you love, that we as fans love, again, it's just a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And you did mention, I want to go back to this, kind of the emotional touch point of it, right? Like Superman and Lois relationship. That's what you started with, to really kind of give us really an emotional starting point. We all know, Clark and Lois's relationship, how much they care about each other. And it made us feel the loss of Clark even more when that happened. As a starting point, I think that really resonated with fans because then it did give a place to start ratcheting up that pacing. Did you have anybody, you've said that you've had fans come up and want to talk about this. Anybody specifically mentioning kind of the surprising emotion of it? I mean, you hear about it, you just think, oh, it's going to be them just duking it out. But yeah, there was a lot of emotion
Yeah,
in this series.
I think it comes across and think when people say things like it's better than I thought it was going to be, or like this is like a real story, you know it's
Yeah.
not a throwaway, like it usually comes in that form, and it's sort of a testament to our commitment to try to make it good, like sure it could have been just a thing they fight and that's it, but like I wouldn't want to read that, like so I just tried to grounded in something that would make me interested, like something that I would want to read and be a part of. So, I think that's your job as a writer, is to make it more than just the punches thrown and the atomic breaths hurled.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So I know fans have been loving it because I've seen that online. What about fellow creators? Have you had feedback? Because I know you know a big variety of colleagues and what have you. Have they been anybody like, oh man, I can't believe you got to do this. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, yeah. No, there's been a fair amount of jealousy, I
Yeah,
think, but jealousy in the best possible way. So sure, but like I think that's the mark as a writer and a creative, in anything. If I watch a good movie and afterwards I feel like, man, I wish I would have written that,
right.
and I'm a little jealous.
Hmm.
or I read a comic and I'm a little jealous that's just like it almost like you get a sense of pride because as a creator, you're like someone actually got to that level. So, I think it's all healthy to be just a little envious when you see good stuff.
Well, the other thing is it inspires you as a writer and it kind of pushes you, right? Like, oh, if so and so did this awesome thing, I need to raise my bar. I need to be, doing my best.
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, I don't, like I don't think you look at it as a one for one. Like I need to be as good as this person, or I need to rate myself based on what someone else is doing. But yeah, it inspires you to want to sit down and write something and put the best version of yourself forward. For sure.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it just reminds us once again of how awesome this medium is. Why comics is the best medium, the best mixture of words and pictures. There is no budget. And specifically when it comes to this series, Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. I mean, I could only imagine if this was on the big screen, the budget that they
Yeah, I
take.
mean, I think the best we could ever hope for is that somebody wants to make it as an animated special or something because it would be so huge to try to make this live action. There's no way. There's
Yeah,
no way.
yeah. Uh, so as we're winding down here, one last thing that I do want to mention. Again, we're not going to get spoilery, everybody, but I've mentioned those moments throughout the series. And one of the things that I wanted to ask Brian was, there are moments, as I've said, but there are moments that call back to kind of classic DC moments. And there's one with the Bat Mech and the Mecha Godzilla in this one. That just comes from your love of comics and the love of those classic DC moments.
Oh, so you read the
I've read
seventh
seven.
issue?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so you talk about sort of the finishing move.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, why wouldn't you want to like put as many nods to things like that as you could? Yes. So that was definitely intentional.
Yeah, well, and also kind of we almost get a death of Superman moment and a return of Superman moment as well. So
Right.
again, just fantastic job. So as we're winding down here, any last thoughts for our audience? Anything you want them to know?
Just that be prepared for a lot of fighting in issue 7. Hope you guys like it, and I hope I get the opportunity to do more down the road.
Yeah, we hope so too. So just a reminder, everybody: Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong in your comic shops coming up this Tuesday, May 21st, and put your order in now if you want to get that hardcover, which is out July 9th. So again, Brian, great to see you. Thanks so much for
Yeah, of course,
chatting.
man.
Yeah, and thanks for this series. It's been a blast.
Well, thanks, man. Well, good to see you as always, man.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so much.